Hey guys, it's Becca. Welcome back to my channel. By popular demand, we are talking all about renting a car at Disney World. I'm going to be sharing some of my best tips for renting a car and share some of our do's and don'ts, some mistakes that we've made, some things we've learned from our last experience when renting a car. So before we get into it, make sure that you are subscribed if you are not already. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps me out. And let's get started. So if you are still on the fence about deciding whether or not renting a car or using Disney transportation is going to be the best for your specific family and vacation, I have a whole video dedicated to talking about the pros and cons of renting a car and Disney transportation. So definitely check that out if you're still a little uncertain. But for the sake of this video, we're gonna assume that you have made the decision to rent a car. You have decided that's what's gonna be best for your family and your vacation. So let's start with tip number one. My first tip is pretty obvious, and that is find the best deal. That is usually the first thing you do when you decide to find a rental car, and it can actually be pretty time consuming. You are pulling up multiple different car rental websites, you're inputting your dates, your arrival time, the type of car you're looking for, the airport you're gonna be at, all kinds of different information, and you're entering that in over and over and over. Well, y'all, I found the website. Well, I didn't find it. I mean, I'm sure other people know about it, but it's called autoslash.com. And basically what it does is you enter all that information in one time, and it does all the work for you. It sends you an email and basically ranks the least expensive car rental all the way down to the most expensive car rental. And it'll let you know when there's changes. It'll let you know when prices decrease, when they increase, and it lets you kind of keep an eye on when you're trying to find the best deal. So it's a really helpful resource. It'll save you so much time instead of having 10 tabs open on your computer at once, putting in the same information over and over. You just have to do it one time with AutoSlash. So it's really, really helpful. Highly recommend. Again, I'll link it below. Go check it out. My next tip when renting a car is do your research. And I have a few sub-points with this topic because this is a big one. One of the mistakes Andy and I made on our last trip was not doing our research. We just booked the rental car and decided to show up. We didn't look into any of the policies, any details, anything like that. The biggest one was we were unaware that the specific car rental we booked was actually located off-site, meaning we had to take a shuttle to go to another location to get our car rental. And that would have been totally fine, except when you're not prepared for that, it kind of takes you a little off guard. So that was one thing I really wish we just had done our research and had known in advance. We went with the cheapest car rental option, and after arriving, finding out it was located off-site, we then realized why it was the cheapest option. So again, do your research, just know in advance and be prepared for what you're signing up for, because nothing is worse than thinking that you're gonna leave straight from the airport to get your vacation started when that seems to be a little delayed by having to wait for a shuttle, waiting in another line once you get to this other location, having to find new directions, and we'll get into all that too. But it definitely made us a little frazzled on the beginning of our vacation and starting things out that way because we just weren't prepared and we just didn't know. So definitely know where your car rental is located before you book it. My next sub point under do your research is know what the car insurance policy is. This was another thing. We did not have the proper documentation prepared or saved or pulled up in an email or screenshot on our phone, or we could have been more prepared. There's more we could have done. And again, we just didn't do our research and we didn't know. So definitely know in advance, do your research, and know what your car rental policy is for car insurance, and know what information they require if you choose to provide your own car insurance or if you are wanting to use the car insurance that they're offering. So again, it's just one of those things that I wish we had come a little more prepared. So definitely do your research with the car insurance policies. And my next sub point under do your research, there's a lot of research here, is know what you're wanting to do when it comes to the SunPass option. So we live in Tennessee. We don't have to deal with tolls and a SunPass and all of that stuff on the interstate. We just go where we want to go and we don't have to think about it. Well, going to a place like Florida where there are tolls, it's a little foreign to us. And so we definitely didn't consider that when we decided to rent a car. And we could have come more prepared with coins and dollar bills and all of that to save a little bit of money, because they definitely charge a premium if you want to rent a SunPass for the length of your car rental, which is what we ended up doing. And it definitely made our trip feel a little more carefree than having to worry about the tolls, but it is something to consider. I think we ended up paying about $25 for our weekend stay of 2 days. 2 days of a car rental, it was $25. So, you know, that's not huge. It's not a make it or break it kind of thing, but we could have saved 25 bucks and, you know, just paid coins and dollar bills on our own if we had brought those in advance. So again, the SunPass option may be the best choice for you, but just know in advance so that way you actually feel like you have an option, rather as compared to us where we didn't have the option of coins and dollar bills. So we just felt like, well, we kind of have to do the SunPass because, you know, we don't want to have to worry about, you know, going to the store and getting change and having to mess with all that. You just want your Disney vacation to start and you don't want anything else in the way. So again, do your research, know what you want to do when it comes to the SunPass. My next tip is have directions ready to go. Typically this wouldn't be an issue, but wherever we were, we did not have service on our phones. And so we are driving on the interstate. We are, again, ready to get our vacation started, and we don't have service and we have no data. So I'm pulling up on my Google Maps, trying to get directions. It's not loading. We're slowly getting closer and closer, and we're not really sure which exit to get off of. And I wish I had almost screenshot directions in advance or had it pulled up before we got on the interstate. And you know, this may not be an issue for really anybody but me, I don't know, but it definitely added to the stress of our vacation because we had no idea where to go, our phones didn't have service, and we had to wait till we got to an area where our service came back on our phones, and at that point we'd missed the turn. And so all of that could have been avoided if we had just taken the time to know where we were going before we got on the interstate. And if you're married, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You missed the turn. No, you need to be in this lane. All right, half a mile. Okay, a quarter mile. And you're having these conversations back and forth. And yeah, it can just get a lot, you know? So definitely know where you're going. Have directions pulled up before you leave. It'll save you a headache, I promise. My next tip is be prepared for additional fees. And there are a few things that go along with this. One being the resort parking fees. If you are not staying on DVC points and you are just paying cash for a room, you will be charged for parking based on which tier of resort you're staying at. It's less expensive at the value, more expensive at a deluxe. So just be prepared for that. It's never fun to see unexpected charges on your room bill at the end of your vacation if you weren't anticipating it. So definitely make sure to factor that into your vacation budget. Another area to factor in additional fees would be parking at the actual theme parks. That can add up quick. If you're going for a 7 to 10 day vacation, that's a lot of parking if you're going every day. So again, just another thing to factor into your vacation budget, because that can really eat up your money if you are not expecting it. And then lastly, be sure that you are prepared to pay those additional fees for gas. So I know different car rentals have different policies where you have unlimited mileage or different policies for gas, and if you need to bring back the car with a full tank, or if it's okay to bring it back, you know, as is. But again, just know what to expect with that and budget that in. If you think you're gonna use up half a tank of gas, you know, that can still be a little bit of extra cash if you weren't anticipating it. So, you know, again, just be prepared for that. Make sure that you think through all of the potential fees and costs that come along with renting a car. All right, that is it. Those are my tips for renting a car at Disney World. I hope this was helpful. Let me know in the comments below if you have any other tips for renting a car, because there can be a lot that goes into it, and if you've never done it before, it can be a little overwhelming trying to maneuver around Disney property. So definitely leave your tips below. That would be super helpful. Thank you guys again for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.